Hugo here. I just want to talk about the turning a 400 crank in a 350 block into a stroker. So you're basically taking the 5.7 rod and putting a 6-inch rod on it, and it makes it into a stroker 383 for a Chevy. I have done this in the past where the 400 crank and the rods are from a internally balanced motor, because from 85 and down are internally balanced. 2-piece seal. Anything above 86 and up are a 1-piece seal, externally balanced. I'm dealing with the internally balanced version, 2-piece seal, and I have had slight vibrations from, decent vibrations from $3,000 up to $4,500. After looking on the internet and doing some research, I found out that you can either have the internals balanced professionally, which I recommend, but are expensive. And in my case, I'm poor and cheap. I found this. This is a plate that you bolt in between the crank and the flywheel. And it's supposed to take out those imbalances. Now, I understand that it's a crank and rods from an internally balanced block, but from what I've read, now I'm not a motor builder, what I've read from a 6-inch rod on a 5.7 rod crank, which would be a 400, it creates some sort of vibration. The only way to fix that would be to have it professionally balanced, or buy a professionally balanced forged crank where they drill it and they slug it with tungsten, which is what I have. But I have done the cheap way, 400 crank with 6-inch rods in a 350 block. And I've had vibration. So I found out about this thing, and I took my motor apart, or not the motor, the transmission out, and I put this between the flywheel, and I got it almost down to nothing. And I talked to a buddy of mine who's a motor builder, and he said maybe I should try, since I've already done this, either having the flywheel professionally balanced, or even so I don't have to take the whole thing apart again, spend the money on a fluid damper and see if that takes away the rest of the vibration. So I did. Even though the fluid damper is expensive, it's still cheaper than buying all the other stuff or having the crank and the rods and everything internally balanced. It took away the rest of the vibration. So since then, I've done it twice. I've used 400 cranks and done this. I've also bought an internally balanced crank with rods and put it together and have no vibration. So this is the cheap way out. I can't say that it's going to work for everybody, but I didn't know about this. It's got its own locating hole here, so it only goes on one way, so it kind of knows where it's supposed to go. This is for a 2-piece steel crank, the big opening. This took away a lot of the vibration. From what I understand is with the 400 crank and the 6-inch rod, it creates vibration that the crank wasn't balanced for in the first place, because it was balanced for the 5.7 rod. Now keep in mind, anything I'm telling you here, I'm not a professional. I'm not a motor builder. I'm just repeating what I've done and what has helped me. Hopefully it'll help you. I'm a cheap ass. I don't have the money to go out, much less find a motor builder that wants to deal with my stupid shit and help me out. I just do a lot of running around the internet and reading forums, and this is what I came up with, was this stupid weight. Take the flywheel off, put this on, flywheel goes on after it. It took out like 90% of the vibration from $3,000 to $4,000. After $4,000, I didn't have any. And then I bought the fluid damper, and it took care of the rest of it. Now, I've also had 86 and up motors, which were externally balanced. I've never tried to make one of them into a stroker, but this is what I was told to use. I used it, and it was like a godsend, because it was only like $40. Other than the labor it took to pull the rear or the transmission, all that stuff out. Luckily, it's a stick, so I can pull it out in segments. Transmission, flywheel, and bell housing and all that. Automatic's a little more annoying, especially if you're in a driveway or in the dirt at night. No friends like me. I can see how that could be a pain. But this definitely helped. This definitely helped a lot. This is a lot cheaper than having the internals balanced. I can't believe it's not out there more. I can't believe nobody has really talked about this. I mean, it's just a stupid piece of metal that hangs and obviously is a weight on one side of the crank, and it offsets the vibration from the longer rod. I never would have thought that going from a 5.7 to a 6-inch rod would have made that much vibration, but it did at a higher RPM. And I'm turning the motor up to 7,500 on the street. So not all the time, but the vibration's gone. So before, when I was tacking it up, it would start around $3,000, 3,500, and it would carry on to about $4,000, and it would go away. And then under deceleration, you could feel it slowly come in. And then as you got lower, 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 it would start to fade away. So I knew that something was going to happen. Something's going to come apart eventually if I keep driving like this. So the more I read on the internet, I found this. Amazon. I got it from Amazon. It was like $45. You can get them at Jags, Summit. I've seen them all over the place. You just look around, you can find them cheaper and cheaper. I'm sure you know, as you do some research, you can find the exact same item cheaper and cheaper no matter where you look. Probably can find it even cheaper on eBay. I don't know anything bad about it because I haven't had any problems with it. When I put it in, it's done exactly what it said it was supposed to do. So hopefully this will help you if you've built a 383 with a 400 crank, 6-inch rod, and you're driving it and it's vibrating, thinking you did something wrong, or your flywheel's out of balance. Neutrally balanced flywheel. And, well, I would try this first. And then a fluid damper, if then. Taking your motor back, or taking your transmission back out to have the flywheel balanced is kind of... A fluid damper will make up for a lot more than a balanced flywheel. So I would do a fluid damper. That should take care of the rest of it. I've also heard of people just saying they deal with the vibration. You're not racing it. Unless you're racing it, then I would worry about it. I'm picky, so I don't want to feel the vibration when I'm getting on it. It just seems like I did a half-assed job if I do it that way. So I wanted to fix it. And this little plate here, $45, free shipping, stopped a lot of the vibration. The only problem was I had to buy a fluid damper to make it, to get rid of the rest because I was picky. Fluid dampers aren't cheap. If you look, But if you want to get rid of the vibration, there you go. So I hope I was some sort of help to you guys. If not, then I'm sorry I wasted your time. And have a good rest of your day. Thanks for watching.